Hey guys, so it is 9:15. It is May 15th. Today's video is actually going to be a little different. I'm going to be, quote unquote, teaching someone my trading strategy. And I'm just going to let you guys in on it, just in case she asks questions that someone may have, or just anything. Just letting y'all in on the conversation. I'm just waiting for her to get in. You're muted.
Hi.
Okay, hi.
How are you?
Good. Can you see, can you see?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good, because I was trying to figure it out. I already started recording, so we are being recorded.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 9:17. I go through it pretty quick because the market's about to open, which is fine, but I'm going to slow it down. Just so we can actually look at it. So I'm gonna try not to rush. I'm usually like moving and grooving. So I'm gonna try to slow down today.
Okay.
Let me know if I'm going too fast.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, cool. So you said you do the ICC process.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do that as well. But I also do supply and demand. But how I do it is when I'm looking at like a higher time frame, I use ICC, but then when I'm looking for an entry, I use supply and demand. Have you heard of supply and demand?
Yeah, but I haven't really looked into it, so I don't know much about it.
Okay, that's fine. When I tell you it's the simplest thing ever, it's literally the same thing in a way. So on the daily, I know it looks like a lot, it probably doesn't, but I normally have trend lines on like my higher time frames. I use the trend lines as like my support and resistance for like higher time frames, and then these red and purple lines I use it for more so like my dailies time frames, support and resistance. You know what support and resistance is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So on the daily, because I'm only trading, I'm not swing trading, I'm day trading. I'm only caring about what's happening in that day's candle. I don't too much concern myself what happened in the past. So for today's candle, it's already bullish. Bearish. So price has opened at the top and is starting to fall. So that lets me know, okay, sellers are in control. But because price has hit this trend line, which is considered a support for me, if price continues to fall below, I'll continue for sales. But if it hits this trend line and then starts reversing back up, because this still is an uptrend, so buyers are still in control, then I'll go for buys. But on the daily, right now, it shows me that the sellers are in control for the day. Does that make sense?
Sorry, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So that's based off of this one candlestick, or you're just looking at what happened prior?
I'm looking for the daily. I'm looking at today's candle, this one candlestick.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then, because this is what we're going to be catching a trade in.
Okay.
And then, so then I'll go down to the 4 hour. Now, every time I go down, it's just going to include more information that we saw within this one candle on the daily. So within this one candle, as I go down, we're still looking at this one candle, but on different time frames. Oh, I thought I was finna choke and die. Okay. Yeah, so on the 4 hour, within that same daily candle, as we can see, sellers really stepped in. Once I'm now in my hourly and my minute time frames, I start to look for zones. I'm gonna delete this. That was yesterday's trade. So right now, price is currently here on this candle. This already happened. So now I'm looking here. Price is here. The zone that falls in, do you know what a zone is?
Yeah.
Okay, so a zone that falls in on the 4 hour is here. So I'll mark the zone. This is private price, again, because we're at this trend line, price is either going to continue falling and invalidate this zone. If it invalidates this zone, then I'm going to go for sales. I do see that there is a support here and a support here, but if price breaks this, retests this trend line and continues falling, again, I'll go for sales. But if price hits this trend line and decides to turn back around to go back up, I'll go for buys. So I haven't fully figured out what my bias is yet because of where price is. It's at a trend line. So this is like a super important, I guess you could say, day when it's near a trend line. So then down to the hour. I don't really mark up my 4-hour zones unless it's the cleanest. So I'm going to keep going down to the hour. Price is here. That falls within this 1-hour zone, which is where I took my trade yesterday. So that's pretty cool. So on the 1 hour, price is still within the zone. Yeah, price is still within the zone. So now I will add my 1 hour zone. Because what I'm hoping for, because it's an uptrend and buyers is more than likely in control, this could just be a pullback. I would like to see price push, like reject this trend line, push outside of this zone, close outside of this zone, and continue up to make a higher high. That's what I would like to see. If price decides, well, no, I want to invalidate and keep going down, I do have levels that I can, take it to. But the only thing about that is I don't know how far price will pull back. I will feel more confident in a buyer's market to catch a buy, at least to create a higher high. It don't have to be like way up here where price never been, but I can at least know, like, yes, RJ. Not right now. So I would like to see price push outside of this zone. So back to the upside rather than it fall, and I don't know what zone it could fall to. So I guess you can technically say I'm going for buys. Now, if I don't see any buys, I guess there just won't be any trade, because I'm not the type to force it where it's like, oh, well, since it's going in the opposite direction than I thought, I'll just catch it to the downside. Because again, it's a strong buyer's market. Buyers are more likely to be in control. So at any point, the buyers can step in and be like, yeah, no, let's take this back on up. So that's the 1 hour. Then I'll go down to the 30-minute. So right now, if I edit my trend line, let me edit this. I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, so right now it looks like buyers are stepping in, but on the 30 minutes, I can clearly see price coming down. In order for price to show that it wants to continue down, it'll have to invalidate this zone, which is this candle here. It'll have to invalidate it. So far, it has not done that. It hit this trend line and it's continuing up. In order for price to want to continue, show me. He's so mad. In order for price to indicate it wants to continue up, I needed to invalidate this previous high. So this is when it will become a breaker structure. But since I'm on the 30-minute, I'm going to keep that in mind. But so I'm not going to mark it up, but I am going to keep it in mind that I need price to at least break this structure before I can enter a trade. Because that's letting me know, okay, price is finally wanting to push back up. If it stays in this zone, there's no trade inside of here. If it breaks this candle, there's no trade. If it invalidates this zone and go for sales, there's no trade, at least for me. Somebody else could do it. Somebody else can switch it. At least for me, there will be no trade. So then the 15-minute, like I said, price will have to break here. And also, because of the way the market has been moving lately, this could happen within one candle when market opens. Usually when that happens, I don't trade the first candle of the day because it's very, very volatile. I like price to kind of show me what it wants to do. Maybe like the first 1 or 2 candles, and then I get in if there's a setup. But if not, There's no setup. But on the 15, I need price to break this previous high. Because you know what swing lows and swing highs are, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need price to indicate. So this is when I would start now going through this. Since I already have my bias, which is buys, in order for me to catch a buy, I need price to indicate that it wants to push higher. So price needs to break above this structure here.
Okay, and that's based off of the zone, right?
That is based off of the zone. What do you mean based off the zone?
Okay, so you see how right now you have the zone, and then you have that structure needs to break above this candlestick. So how do you determine that it needs to break above this candlestick?
Okay.
I guess that's my question.
So that's swing high, swing low. So we have a high, we have a low, we have a higher low, we have a lower low, we have a higher low, and a lower low. But for a uptrend, we have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low, we have a higher high. So in order for price to indicate it wants to switch to buys, I need to see a higher high. That means it needs to break the previous high. So this was the last high. This was the lower high. In order for price to turn into a buy trend, I need a higher high.
Okay.
That will indicate what they call a change in character. That means price is changing the direction of the trend. If I don't see price push higher than this previous high, more than likely there's no buys. I have to see that. Okay, so the market just opened. But that's on the 15. So that's what I would need to see on the 15. And until then, none of this other stuff matters. So that's literally where I would stop. I'll stop right here. I need to see a breaker structure. So then market open and I'll wait.
Okay.
That's literally it. So because it's live, it's going to be like a little slower paced, but
yeah.
Because like I said, it's in this zone. So price can literally, on the 5 minute, price can literally tap. Well, let's see. It already invalidated here, but it still had this zone. Well, you see, price literally just tapped into the zone. It can continue falling.
Yeah.
Because technically it's still in a pullback, but overall it's in an uptrend. It's just pulling back. So, yeah.
And do you enter on the 5 minute?
It depends. It depends on momentum. So if price is moving like at a steady pace, I'll do the 5 minute. But like yesterday, price was this yesterday's chart? Oh, hold on. Wait a second. Where are you at? Oh, okay. Was this yesterday? No, it was yesterday. That was not yesterday. Hold on. Okay. Yesterday's trade, because you see how big these candles are, I took it on the 1 minute because there was, as you can see, there was no zones, which will be the dark purples on a buy trade. There was no zones on the 5 minute. So there was no entry until here. I would price this candle would break this structure. This would be the zone. Price never came back to that zone. This candle broke this structure. Price came back. Like I would have had to wait until basically momentum slowed down yesterday because all the momentum was here. Because I didn't want to do that, I went down to the 1 minute. Golly, hold on. Where is it? Right here. I went down to the 1 minute so I could catch a zone because now you see the zones. I was able to catch this zone. So once this candle broke this zone, let me draw it out real quick. I waited for the candle to come back into the zone. I got in and I just aimed for a 1 or 2. But on the 5-minute, as you can see, there was no entry because I'm not just going to jump in because you never know. Whereas if you have a zone, you can measure your zone and then do it that way. So it just depends on momentum. That's really what I could say. And it depends on like your, I don't want to say nervous system, but for lack of better terms, your nervous system. Because if you can't sit through the noise of the 1 minute, then you might just have to wait.
I have a question though. For Webull, because I did download Webull before, but I thought you have to put in $500 to trade futures. Is that true?
Maybe it just depends on what you're trading. They have these thing called margins. Say you were doing futures. Let's say, okay, so MNQ, it only costs $200. So if you had $200 in your account, you could trade NASDAQ. Now, would I do that? Not necessarily, because if it pulled back, that $200 could be gone.
Right.
So it really just depends on what but SPY is only 132. YM is 82. So it just depends on what you're trying to trade.
Okay.
It's an easier way to see it, but I do it on my phone, so. But do you have any other questions?
Right now, no. I think my biggest thing is is being able to know when to take profit. And then also the entry, because I am very confused on that also.
Okay. Hopefully I can show one for real. I'm really hoping I can. As far as the when to take profit, that's another reason I like Webull. Because they have this tool. So let's say we took a buy. No, let's say we took for the sake of this downtrend, let's say we took a short. And let's say we entered, say this candle broke this previous low. So this is our zone. Okay, wait, that wouldn't work. Price didn't never come back. Let's do this zone. So I will wait for price to correct itself. So it came back to this zone. I'll get my tool. I'll enter when it closes outside of this zone. That's conservative. I'll put my stop loss for the zone, like at the top of the zone since it's sell. And then I'll aim for you see where it says risk ratio? I'll make it like a 1-to-1. So then I'll take profit once it hits the 1-to-1, or I'll make it a 1-to-2. I'll take profit once it hit the 1-to-2. So that's usually why I like this tool. It'll tell you how much you're risking, and then it'll tell you how much your reward would be. It'll tell you how big your stop loss is, because in futures you can measure or you can calculate how much you're willing to lose based on the number of ticks, which is based on whatever you're trading, yeah. So if this is only 38, I know I'm not risking that much. Whereas if it was like 91, I'm like, So I like this tool because I don't need to sit in. I don't swing trade, so I don't need to sit in like this whole downtrend. Whereas like a somebody that's swing trading and they caught that, it will be more. But it's also more ticks. So let's use that same, let's say this zone, it tapped here. And let's say we entered here. The top of the zone, let's say it's up here, where a 2 to be here, but it's 92 points. Or let's say, I think it'll come back to the trend line. That's almost a 6. a 1-to-6 ratio. So it just depends. It depends. That's how I use it to. Ooh, it broke the trend line. Let me see. I was just saying, I see another zone, which is this one. Both are still pretty valid because it never invalidated this one. But I do see another one, which looks like the one it actually tapped into. But we will see. It's definitely taking some time. I could say that. It rejected this trend line, so it broke the trend line, but it closed above. We would need to see price close below.
Below, yeah.
But the sellers are there. I'm just wondering if they're going to respect this zone or that other zone. I want to put both because I really... Okay, so I won't trade this zone, but I can show you how it would work. So, since we have a price indicated it wanted to push higher because it pushed above this previous high. You see how this candle, it came out of this zone. So I marked up my zone. We would wait for price to correct. So tap back into the zone, which looks like this candle is the one that's going to do it. Once it taps, we determine, are we going to get an aggressive, which would be now. Aggressive usually just gets in as soon as they get the tap. Conservative will wait for the tap and then wait for it to close outside the zone. Or if it comes in deep and then start pushing out with momentum into the direction that you're trying to catch a trade, like this would be momentum. So this will still be conservative. You can get in now. Or you'll wait for a safe entry, which would be when this candle closes and then price pushes above that candle. So I usually do conservative, whether it's momentum or whether it closes. It just depends. But I try to stay as close to the zone as possible. This zone is pretty big, so I necessarily won't use it. But I gotta wait for the breaker structure anyways, because that's what I said. It's 156 points, so I would not use that whole zone. I would not. See if that would have ate. I'm not in this, so let me not confuse my people. Okay, click at the top where it says classic. And then it should say Turbo Trader or...
Yeah, Turbo Trader.
Okay, screenshot that and show me what that looks like. Okay, yeah. Because it's easier to get in and get out. So when we do it, we'll put where it says quantity. You'll put the amount of contracts you want to. So let's say you put 2. You'll press 2. If you want to go for buys, you'll press buy market, which is NKT. That's how you'll enter the trade. And then when you're ready to get out, you'll press close, and it'll close all your positions.
I go upstairs. Okay, Mom.
And that's literally how that works. Yeah, that trade would have went, but I need to make sure the sellers is out the way.
Adios.
So when you do...
Yeah, that would have been a good trade.
Do you change... Okay, well, never mind.
What?
The 1 minute, like, do you change it to what you're looking at?
No, that's just if you want to look at the chart on your phone while you're trading, yeah. Okay, we're about to get that breaker structure. Perfect. Looks like it's still coming out the same zone, so we might have missed that one. We'll have to wait for another trade, Or, this is just me personally, I would, this is when I would switch to the 1 minute because these candles are pretty big. And then I will see if I see a zone. You don't have to do that. You could just be patient and wait for the 5 minutes. I think at that point it's preference, but just know if you change it to the 1 minute, it could be a little riskier due to the fact that it doesn't have to respect the 1 minute zone. It can still go back to the 5 minute zone. So.
Okay.
Oh, brother, we got 10 minutes to take a trade. Because come on, man. Do something. Let's see. Let's see if he'll come back and let us in. It didn't break structure necessarily. I don't know though. This is a good setup. No, I gotta wait for the break of structure. I gotta follow my rules. So because I didn't get this break of structure yet, I cannot enter this trade. Even though it looks really good. Let me check the 1 minute. Okay, this is my break. I be getting so excited, girl. I do. Okay, perfect. So on the 1 minute, we have a zone. So I might be taking this on the 1 minute. So we'll wait for this candle to close and then we'll wait for it to correct and come back to tap the zone. So this might be a 1 minute trade. Yeah, because a 5 minute not. So we got the breaker structure. It did tap, okay. Hopefully it closes outside the zone. If it closes in the zone, I'm not gonna be too happy. So let's see. Hopefully it closes above this too. That's too jumpy for me. That was the tap. It's about to leave me. It's about to leave me. No. Don't leave me, please. Okay, did you put in the number of contracts?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tell you when I enter. I don't like that it closed in the zone, so I'm trying to wait for it to close outside the zone. But if it goes too far, I'm not going to do it. I don't think we need that anymore. It already broke. Let me check the 5 minute. I feel like it's going to try to come back here, but I don't want it to because that was a lot of consolidation. It's closing in the zone. That was beautiful. Okay, hold on. It's leaving us. It's leaving us. Please stop leaving us. Hold on. So now I'm just creating another zone because what I'm doing is watching price action. So I'm watching, I guess you could say the story of the buyers and the sellers. The buyers are trying to push price up, but the sellers are stepping in. That's why we're getting these strong selling candles. Even though there are buying candles, the sellers are stepping in and like closing price at a way lower price. That's why I'm not entering the trade because I need a strong buying candle. So I need price to close outside of these zones, which it's not doing. So now I'm just following price action by marking up the zones. So, or we would be sitting in all of this, and I don't want to do that. See, this one just closed in the zone too. Let me go back to the 5 minute. 50 more seconds. I'm wondering if it's gonna come back to this 5-minute zone. Because it never came back on this 1 minute. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so this is an invalidation. Well, not yet. It look like it want to. It look like it won't do. Is it gonna? Is it gonna? It didn't. It did not. Let me not talk too soon. It did. It did. All right. So there's no trade. It is back in this zone, but if it closed in this zone, Okay, let's go back to the 5-minute. Okay, I'm gonna keep this up then. They coming back for us?
Message on your phone from Jess.
We got 1 minute left. Okay, let's do it quick, okay?
Okay.
How do I end this? Because I feel like it's gonna happen fast. How do I end it? Oh, brother. End. I gotta wait 9 minutes. Okay, it just tapped. So that's the tap. The zone is pretty big. I have to start it back up in 9 minutes. It's closing outside the zone. Enter. I'm in. Oh, I gotta record it. I didn't record it. I entered. I'm aiming for a 1-to-1. 50 points. Yeah, let's aim for a 1-to-1. I hope she was able to get it. Come on, 1-to-1. Come on, buyers. Don't embarrass me in front of my friends. Don't embarrass me in front of my friends. Has it been 9 minutes? I don't know if I'm gonna sit through all of this. I ain't never did that before. That's a lot. If anything, I'm gonna aim for the top of here. We'll see. But this is a big zone, and I want to use the whole zone. It stopped recording. Hold on. And I want to use the whole zone, so yeah. Come on, buyers. Oh, y'all, are we using this whole zone? Are we? Are we or not? Are we or not? Are we using this whole zone or bless you? Bless you. You're welcome.
Mommy,
Yes.
I'll tell you.
I hope she's not panicking. Dang it. Close the door. I don't want no flies to come in. Close the door. I don't want no flies to come in. We could do 70 points. So a 1-to-1 would be, golly, 1-to-1 would be here. All right, cool. Yeah, that settles better in my stomach. That was the longest minute in my life. Are you still in the trade?
Yeah.
Okay. It almost, okay, so I know you don't know when to get out. So I set up my thing. It basically hit us out, but I was trying to get you in the trade, so I didn't get out. But I should have got out already. But, so do you know why we entered?
Because, okay, no, I'm not sure. I know that we tapped out of the zone.
Yes. So price closed, this candle closed outside the zone. So we got in at the open of this next candle. Once we got in, I put on my tool. I put it for a 1-to-1. I don't like to risk more than 70 points. Just because I know how much I would be risking. You just have to calculate what you're willing to risk. Hold on. So I put it for 70 points, and then I put it for a 1-to-1. So again, I could have got out, but I wanted to make sure you were at least able to see the trade. So now we're kind of just waiting. I mean, I could be out right now since it did tap, but I'm hoping that it continues up so you can actually see how it works. So I'm willing to sit through this just so you can see it.
Okay. And then, question, when it is time to close, do you press sell to close?
I press close, the one that says close.
So I have, let me see.
It's on the second row, the last one, the last button at the bottom. You see where it says cancel?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. Okay, so then my next question was, okay, so you don't set, so when you're actively in the trade, you don't set your stop loss?
You can. I don't, because I don't. I like to be in control of when I'm getting in and when I'm getting out, but you can.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
I'm going to get out. I'm not going to lie. It's going to continue up, but I'm going to get out for the sake of, it already tapped my 1-to-1. I really don't want to sit here any longer. You can sit in it if you want to. I'm going to get out. So that's it for me. That's literally it for me. And that's why I like to get out too, because that's also why I don't set it too, because I like to get out. I don't want to keep playing. It's consolidating. It already hit my 1-to-1. There's really no need for me to still be in it. Again, you can. If you want to just trust your system and process, it's not in the zone. It didn't close in the zone. So far, all the candles have been closing outside the zone. It tapped the zone. Like, if you followed all your rules and you're willing to sit through, go right ahead. But usually this would fill up the whole zone. So a 1-to-1 wouldn't even be until up here. So we would still, if we were going for this whole zone, which is 162 points, we would still be in this trade, which is fine. You'll make more, but my heart can't take that. My heart can only take 70 points. Yeah. Okay. What was your question? I'm sorry.
My question was how to calculate the, what am I saying?
The
how
points?
To calculate, yes, the points.
Okay. Let's do that. So for MNQ, you know about the point system?
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
Okay. Okay, so a tick size is 25 points and it's worth 50 cents. So for the sake of my typing, I'm just gonna copy and paste that real quick. So the tick size is 0.25, which means every time this moves, as you can see, it's like 0, 75, 50, 25. That's how it moves. It don't move like, 13, 23. It's not going to move like that. It's going to move 25, 50, 75 $, 25, 50. It's going to move like that. That's the tick size. Every tick is worth 50 cents. So when it moves from 25 to 50, that was a 50 cent move. Hold on. That was a 50 cent move. The tick size is 0.25. And then also, one tick is equal to, no. 4 ticks is equal to 1 point. Because remember, it moves 0.25. So in order to make $1, 4 quarters equal $1. So 4 ticks equals 1 point. So let's use like our 70 points. So for M&Q, the tick size is 0.25. So it moves 25 cents every time it moves. And every time it moves 1 tick, that is 50 cents. So when it moves 1 point, that is worth $2. So 4 ticks is equal to 1 point, which is equal to $2 on M&Q. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have a 70 point. Yeah, we have a 70 point zone. We know that 1 point is equal to 4 ticks, which is $2. So there's 2 different ways you could do the math. You can calculate it either by the ticks or you could just calculate it by the dollar amount. So if I know that every point is worth $2 and I multiply 2 by 70, that is, what is that, 140? And then if I multiply 140 by, let's say, 5 or 10 contracts, see, you still get the same number, but the math, it just depends on what type of math you want to do. You still get the same number. So, yeah, I mean, we can do another one. If you did, did I just mess that up? Yes, I did. If we did, I'll let you do this one. If we did a 50 point stop, how much would that be?
50 points. And we did 10 contracts.
Yeah, so 50 points, yeah.
1,000. It would be 1,000.
Yeah, because you would, multiply that by 2, which will give you 100, and then 100 times 10 contracts. That's it. That's literally it. So once you find your number, you just stick to that number. And then as your account grows, your stop loss grows. That's how I look at it, because these zones can get pretty big. And there's no need to be sitting in these zones risking that much. And your account probably can't even, that much. So, do you have any more questions?
Right now, no. I definitely do have a better understanding now. I think I just need to do it a couple more times.
A lot more times. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because I think the main thing is training your eyes to understand price action.
Yes.
That's really it. Because you see how we could have got trapped when it started pushing here, came into the zone and getting in aggressive. Like aggressive, this is gonna go up. Oh my gosh. This is a chart pattern.
Stranger thing.
This is gonna go up. Hopefully it saves till Monday. But anyways, that's beautiful. What was I saying?
How we could have got trapped before.
Yes, we could have got trapped because it did push higher, which is what we wanted, but it didn't continue. It ended up coming back down to the zone. If we would have had that other zone still marked up and we entered aggressively, we would have lost. So it's good to like watch price action, follow price action, but also make sure like you know what type of trader you are, because sometimes you might have an impulsive moment and you're like, well, let me get it now because price is moving, and then it reverse on you. Instead of you waiting because you know you're more so a conservative trader, now you're stuck in a trade for no reason. All right, y'all. That is the end of that Zoom. I wasn't able to like fully explain to you guys. This video is super long, but if you want the tea on this trade, you would watch it. But yeah, I wasn't able to really explain to you guys the trade. Basically, we were waiting for a breaker structure on the 15th. We were waiting for a breaker structure. We got the breaker structure. This candle, was it that candle? Was it? I think so. I think this candle broke that structure. It came out of this zone. Yes. It came out of this zone here. So we marked this zone up. Price came back, tapped into the zone, closed outside the zone, and then we got in at the open of the next candle. So we got in conservative, and then we got out at the 1-to-1. So really, I can take this out. We got in at the close the open of this candle outside the zone, and we got out at our 1-to-1. Why does it say whatever? But yeah, that was the trade of the day. Price is still playing in the zone. Price has never hit our stop loss, so even if you didn't get out, we would still be in it. It will be consolidating. It's starting to close within the zone, but you also have to remember this zone is pretty big. So if you were using this whole zone, you would be sitting until up here, and then you would get out up here somewhere, because that would be the 1-to-1. But I only did a 70-point stop loss. Something like that. I only did a 70-point stop loss. So that was my trade of the day. I am tired of talking. I'm going to end this video here. It is Friday, so I will see you guys on Monday. I may do another trade with her on Monday. We will see. But yeah, bye.